Billionaire's daughter discovers amazing life lessons from single dad Janitor, the incredible journey of Claire. Claire sat alone in her sleek black Tesla, rain pouring down like a waterfall against the windshield. The world outside was a blur of headlights and stormy skies, a stark contrast to the picture-perfect life she lived in the affluent suburbs of San Francisco. Billionaire's daughter, everyone knew her family name, yet no one really knew her. Cloaked in designer clothes, she attended glamorous parties, but as the engine sputtered and died, she felt the weight of 1,000 expectations suffocating her. Tonight, she was stranded waiting for a ride that never came. As she sat there, the silence in her car was deafening. Claire rubbed her forehead, feeling the tide of anxiety rising as her phone buzzed with urgent texts from her father. "Where are you? You need to be at the event." Part of her wanted to scream, to break free from the glass castle of perfection her father had built for her. That's when she saw it, a small, warm light flickering in the distance. The community center. She stepped out of her car, drenched but determined to find warmth and shelter. Inside, the hum of laughter and conversation enveloped her like a comforting blanket. As she stood in the doorway, her eyes landed on Joe, a janitor in his late 30s, wiping down tables with a kind smile that seemed to radiate warmth. He was simple, yet exuded a strength that made Claire's heart flutter unexpectedly. "Hey there! Welcome!" he called out, his voice intertwining with the laughter of families gathered around. That evening, the community was buzzing with energy, sharing meals, stories, and support for one another. Claire watched, captivated, as Joe spoke to a group of volunteers, sharing tales of his struggles and dreams for his daughter, Mia. His passion was palpable. "Life's rough sometimes, but it's also beautiful," Joe said, his eyes sparkling with hope. "You find happiness in the small things, a shared meal, laughter with your kids." Somehow, his words pierced through the cold armor rich society had strapped onto Claire. She felt a desperate pull toward this man who had nothing but everything. Over the following weeks, Claire threw herself into volunteering at the center. She found joy in simple moments, making cupcakes with Mia, playing games, and hearing stories of resilience. Every laugh shared filled her with a warmth she'd never felt at one of her family's extravagant events. Joe became her anchor in a life that had felt adrift. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But just as things began to shift and settle, Claire's father demanded her presence at the family dinner, laying out plans for her to join his tech empire. Heated conversations blazed at the table. Her father's forceful words echoed in her mind, drowning out the laughter she'd grown to cherish at the center. "Claire, you have a bright future ahead of you. Why waste it on these people?" he scoffed. Staring into the mirror, dressed for another gala, Claire felt trapped once more. But tonight, her phone buzzed an invitation from Joe, asking her to help. As she held it, heart racing, the stakes skyrocketed. Between family loyalty and newfound love, she stood at a crossroads craving liberation. What path would she embrace? As she pondered, dark clouds began to form. Could she really abandon the beauty Joe offered her for the illusion of wealth? Claire's heart raced as she stood in front of the mirror, the elegant dress contrasting sharply with her swirling emotions. The glimmering pearls around her neck felt heavy, almost suffocating. She glanced back at her phone, Joe's simple message offering reassurance amidst her chaos. "I need help at the center tonight. Can you come?" She took a deep breath, her mind racing through the possibilities. The gala would draw another divisive line between her two worlds, one of opulence and expectation, the other of simplicity and acceptance. Stepping away from the family event felt rebellious, yet it also felt right. The laughter and joy she had found at the community center called louder than the polished facade of her father's world. "Did you forget where you come from?" her father's voice echoed in her mind. But images of Mia's smile and Joe's warm laughter pushed those doubts aside. The truth was, standing in the bright gallery of her father's success often felt more like standing behind glass than living amongst it. With determination churned by her emotions, Claire ripped off the pearls and tossed her phone into her bag. She would go to the center. It was a decision that felt liberating, almost electric. As she drove towards the community center, the sky began to clear, the downpour of cleansing rain giving way to a soft glow from the setting sun. For the first time in a long while, she felt a flicker of hope. Upon arriving, the sight of familiar faces lit up her heart. Joe was in the middle of organizing supplies for an upcoming charity event, his brow furrowed in concentration. He looked up and smiled, and her chest tightened with affection. "Hey, you made it!" he exclaimed, the warmth of his enthusiasm wrapping around her like a blanket. "I could use your creative touch tonight. We're planning a mural for the kids to brighten up their play area." Claire chuckled, sudden laughter bubbling up from within. "A mural? That sounds amazing," she said, sensing a surge of purpose within her. As she stepped into the center's inviting chaos, her worries about the gala faded like ashes in the wind. Hours flew by. Claire found herself painting, faced with wide-eyed children, each holding a brush, hearts filled with dreams and stories. They painted rainbows and butterfly gardens, neighborhoods filled with hope and cherished memories. But then, just as she was sweeping vivid colors with a bright assurance, her phone buzzed again. It was a message from her father. "Your absence is noted. You better have a good reason for this. I won't tolerate you throwing away your future." Her heart sank as her stomach twisted. The stakes rose higher again. Was family loyalty a chain tying her down or a bond that could be forged anew? She looked at Joe, who was playfully directing the kids, his laughter ringing true. "Claire, what's wrong?" he asked, taking notice of her sudden silence. "Just family issues," she hesitated, feeling vulnerable in front of him. "Hey, you've got to do what makes you happy. Your life is yours to shape." Joe's words were steady, a stark contrast to the chaos in her mind. Could she really face her father with this newfound bravery? As Claire turned back to the mural, brush in hand, she felt an inkling of clarity begin to form. What if tonight was just the beginning? What if she could balance these two worlds, creating harmony in the chaos? Feeling rains of unresolved emotions collide in her heart, she pushed her brush hard against the canvas, painting a huge sun, bright and bold. Could she truly break free? With each stroke she believed deeper in her own dreams. But was she interpreting those dreams correctly, or were they just another picture painted by someone else's expectations? The moment of truth surged near. Claire looked over at Joe, who was watching her with an encouraging smile, and she understood. Just as she had begun to merge the colors, she now stood on the precipice, ready to merge her worlds, but would she find the perfect blend? The vibrant colors swirled around Claire as she lost herself in the mural, each stroke of the brush echoing the heartbeat of the children surrounding her. While the chaos of pain-filled laughter enveloped her, her father's harsh message nagged at the edges of her mind. The sun she painted on the wall radiated, yet a shadow loomed within her. "Can I help?" Claire turned to see Mia, her bright eyes wide with excitement. The girl, no older than 8, had paint-splattered fingers and an eager smile. Claire felt an instant connection. Here was a child excited about life, untainted by expectations. "Of course. Let us make it shine even brighter," Claire replied, her voice gaining strength. Mia took a paintbrush, dipped it eagerly into yellow, and reached for the canvas. Claire guided her, their laughter harmonizing with the splatter of paint. Each smile from Mia felt like a reminder of what truly mattered. Yet, amid the joy, Claire's phone buzzed again. A second message from her father, a political rally announcement. He needed her to charm a well-known donor. Just like that, the world she had momentarily escaped began to creep back in. "Hey, Joe!" Claire called, her heart thumping. He was concentrated on a group of kids, but turned at the sound of her voice. "Yeah?" he responded, brushing a hand through his unruly curls. "I need some advice." She hesitated, gripping her brush tightly. "What do I do when my family's expectations feel like they're closing in on me?" Joe paused, gaze thoughtful as he glanced at the mural. You know, Claire, expectations can be like a wall. You can paint over them, make them part of your story. Or you can break through. His words held a weight that settled over her. Break through. The phrase echoed in her mind, shifting the painter's block she had faced earlier. The voices inside her head, her father's relentless pressure, her own guilt became a distant murmur as she focused. I don't want to be the perfect daughter if it means sacrificing my happiness, she stated, feeling bolder. Then don't, Joe replied simply. Make your own perfect. With renewed determination, Claire turned back to the mural. Mia was jumping with joy as she added stars around the sun. Claire mixed vibrant blue and green, sweeping colors across the canvas. As the mural transformed, so did her perspective. Look! It's our world! I love it! Mia squealed, her enthusiasm infectious. Yeah! It is our world, Claire laughed, her heart swelling. Maybe this was the emotional blend she longed for. Finding her identity amidst both worlds was not about choosing one over the other. Suddenly she felt drained, her energy waning like the sunlight outside. The lingering pressure returned as she glanced at her phone. A final message from her father: this is unacceptable. You know what's at stake. Claire? Joe's voice cut through her swirling thoughts. You okay? She looked up, holding back tears. I'm just trying to figure it all out. He stepped closer, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. You're doing great. Remember, you're allowed to take your time. Just keep painting your way. The kids gathered around them, their joy bubbling over in colorful chaos. The mural was coming alive, but so was Claire. She realized she didn't have to face her fears alone. She had a community here that supported her. But as the night stretched on and the mural neared completion, Claire caught a glimpse of her father approaching the center. The tension hit her like ice water in her veins. The confrontation she'd been dreading was seconds away. Would she stand her ground, or would she crumble under his imposing presence? Her heart raced, and the colors on the mural blurred as she faced the doorway, ready to either stand proud or run away. Mia waved and laughed with the other kids, her innocent joy almost a shield against the darkness creeping in. Claire turned slightly, needing to face her father head-on. His sharp silhouette loomed against the brilliant mural, where colors exploded in celebration. This juxtaposition was ironic, a vibrant canvas filled with life facing a man who represented the weight of expectations. Claire, her father's voice cut through the air, sharp as a brushstroke. What are you doing here? She clenched the paintbrush like a lifeline. I'm painting. We're making something beautiful. Her voice was steadier than she felt. Beautiful? He scoffed, glancing at the mural. This isn't what I expect from you. You belong in the boardroom, not some playground. His dismissive tone made the vibrant colors shrink, turning them cold. Claire felt those words tighten around her chest like a vice. Dad, this is important to me, she said, forcing herself to stand tall. These kids are important to me. He stepped closer, a frown deepening the lines on his forehead. You have responsibilities, Claire. You can't waste time on paint. Those words hit harder than any slap. It felt like betrayal. But this is who I am. I love creating. I'm not just a tool for your ambitions. Her voice wavered, but a spark of defiance ignited within her. The children paused, sensing the tension, glancing nervously between them. Claire's heart pounded in her ears. She wanted to shield Mia and the others from this darkness, to protect their world where love and joy tangled effortlessly. Creating? He sneered. You think squandering your talents here is creation? You're throwing your life away. Every brushstroke she had mixed echoed in her mind, vivid greens and blues, sunlit yellows. What she was doing here was true, raw. It was real. Art is about expression, Dad. She felt heat rising, words tumbling out like paint splashes. It's my way of engaging with the world. It matters. You may not see value in it, but it brings happiness, brings people together. He took a step back, eyes narrowing. Claire knew she was treading treacherous ground. If she kept pushing, would he turn away, shutting her out entirely? But it was too late for doubt. The walls of fear were crashing down. Joe walked over, his presence a calming anchor. He stood beside Claire, meeting her father's gaze. She's been an inspiration to these kids. They need her light. That's not what she was born for, her father snapped, but Joe remained unyielding. Maybe it's time we rethink what we're born for, he replied softly, then turned to Claire. Don't let anyone dim your flame, not even family. Claire's breath caught. Joe's words struck deep. She looked at him, then at the mural as if she could see the future etched within the colors. Her lungs filled with strength. Dad, she said, voice firm. I love you, but I can't keep living with your expectations looming over me. I want my own future, a future where I'm happy. The silence hung heavy, a potential storm hovering just above them. She waited, heart thrumming with uncertainty, wishing she could feel the warmth of approval but knowing she had to embrace the chill of independence. As her father's expression shifted, Claire's own heart raced with fear and hope. Would he understand? Would he realize that her happiness wasn't a rejection of him, but a discovery of herself? His gaze flickered, and for a moment she dared to believe that he might just break through that towering wall of expectation. But when the silence was broken, it wasn't what she expected. You have one chance to fix this, he growled. Either choose your path wisely, or you'll regret it later. The burden of his ultimatum settled upon her, and doubt crept back in, threatening to stifle her light once more. As he turned to leave, the colors on the mural shimmered in the fading light, a reminder of her true self, a self that still felt so new and fragile. Could she truly break free, or would she forever remain ensnared by his demands? The question lingered in her heart as she stood there, paintbrush still held firmly in hand, staring into an uncertain future. Claire stood frozen, paintbrush poised in midair as her father's silhouette faded into the distance. She could feel the grip of his words around her throat like a noose, tightening with every passing second. Her heart raced, each beat echoing the conflict swirling in her mind. One chance to fix this. How could she possibly choose wisely when her entire being felt pulled in two directions? The vibrant colors on the mural mocked her uncertainty, flickering like the fragile hope she clung to. Was this really what living felt like, carrying the weight of expectations while trying to create beauty? A laugh from Mia broke through her reverie. The little girl danced under the colors, blissfully unaware of the storm spinning around them. Claire! Come on! Let us add more blue! Mia called, her voice light as a feather. The request sent a rush of warmth through Claire's chest. It reminded her that despite the heaviness of the moment with her father, joy could still erupt from the tiniest of places. She leaned down, meeting Mia's eager eyes. Okay, let us make the sky even brighter. With each stroke of the paintbrush, letting vibrant blues mix with sunflower yellows, she found herself lost in the rhythm of the moment. The children joined in, laughter mixing with the murmur of paint against canvas, and for a moment, Claire forgot the ultimatum hovering over her like a dark cloud. But then, a thought grounded her. Was she running away from her father's expectations? Or was she learning to embrace the wild and beautiful thing called her own dreams? The nagging doubt knotted in her stomach again. As the kids danced and painted, their enthusiasm felt like a protective bubble against her fears. Joe stood off to the side, watching her with a small, proud smile. He took a step closer, as if sensing her turmoil. You're doing something magical, you know. These kids look up to you. They see a world shining bright through you. Claire shot him a quick glance, words caught in her throat. Could she really make the kind of impact he said? Creating a safe space for them, it counts more than you think, he continued, refusing to let her silence matter. You're giving them permission to be themselves. If that's squandering your talents, then make it count, Claire. She inhaled deeply, feeling the truth of his words settle warmly in her chest. But what about my dad? She asked quietly, her fingers brushing the edge of a newly painted flower. Joe's expression softened. Your father may be blinded by his idea of success. But you have the power to redefine it for yourself. Don't let anyone, family included, put you in a box. Her gaze shifted back to the mural, and she let it sink in. Maybe the true fight wasn't against her father, but within herself. A surge of inspiration filled her. "You're right," she said, her voice steadier. "Creating isn't just about paint. It's about sparking something inside others. It's about freedom." "Exactly," Joe replied, his eyes glistening with encouragement. With renewed fervor, Claire picked up the paintbrush again, letting the colors flow like the fresh energy swirling through her. The mural began coming to life more than ever before. Flowers bloomed, birds took flight, and colors intertwined beautifully, reflecting not only the joy within the children but igniting something burning deep inside Claire too. As the sun began to dip lower, casting a warm golden hue over their work, she heard laughter erupting behind her. Mia was struggling to keep a paint-soaked sponge from plopping onto the ground, and the other kids were too busy giggling to help. Claire turned, laughter bubbling up inside her too. In that moment, she realized something crucial. It was okay to paint outside the lines, just as it was okay to redefine her identity amid the swirling colors and uncertainty waiting for her back home. But as she faced Mia and the other kids, excitement bubbling in her chest, Claire knew that while she was finding her own light, her father's voice still echoed in her mind. Would he ever come to see the artistry in her dreams? The children turned to her, curiosity sparkling in their eyes. And as she laughed with them, one thought lingered: what would it take for her father to understand the beauty she was discovering? She had painted a mural of joy, but could she paint a bridge to her father too? The chase for answers was far from over, and the canvas of her life was just beginning to unfold. As the last strokes of paint glimmered under the fading sunlight, Claire embraced the serenity surrounding her. The mural was alive, bursting with energy that matched the giggles echoing from the kids. They were dancing freely, lost in their own world of creativity. Yet, a heaviness still lingered at the back of her mind, each carefree laugh a reminder of the weight she had once felt. "Claire!" Mia called, scattering Claire's thoughts. The little girl ran up, smeared with paint from head to toe, looking like a rainbow herself. "Look what I did!" She pointed excitedly at a swirling blue and orange sun. "Wow! That's incredible, Mia!" Claire beamed, her heart warming. Moments like these reminded her why she was here. She crouched down, admiring the tiny masterpiece. "You really captured the spirit of the sky." Mia grinned, her eyes sparkling with joy. "Can you teach me more?" "Of course," Claire replied. She suddenly felt a rush of purpose. "Let us work on this together." Just then, Joe approached, hands in his pockets, a knowing smile on his face. "You're forming some strong bonds here, Claire. These kids," he gestured to the playful flurry of colors, "they see you as their muse. You bring out their best." His words meant more than he could know. In that moment, Claire realized this was not just about the mural but her own healing. If she could be the spark for these kids, maybe she could reignite her own spirit too. "Joe, do you ever think about family?" she asked suddenly, her voice tentative but curious. "Family?" He frowned slightly but then laughed. "Yeah, I do. But the definition has shifted for me over the years. It's not just about blood, it's about the people who lift you up. Like your kids here." Claire nodded slowly, absorbing his response. "I guess I've always seen my family as my father's expectations. It's tough to find that balance between what I want and what he wants." "The path isn't always clear," Joe said, shifting from foot to foot, "but the right kind of family pushes you to chase your own dreams, even if they're different from their own. Just remember, you're not alone in this." His words echoed in her mind, wrapping her in warmth she didn't know she needed. Mia pulled at her sleeve. "Can we add sparkles? They make everything better." "Sparkles?" Claire giggled, intrigued. "Why not? Let us make this mural shine." They both grabbed the glitter and began splattering it across their artwork. The kids joined in, squealing with delight as they tossed it around in pure chaos. Claire felt a surge of excitement. It was as if each sparkly fleck held a piece of her vivacity, something her father never seemed to see. As dusk settled in, painting the sky in shades of purple and pink, Claire took a step back to admire their work. It was an explosion of color, a world bursting with possibility, much like her own journey. But just as she started feeling elated, her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a message from her father. "Have you thought about our conversation? Remember, you were made for more than this." Her heart sank. The joy she'd just felt dimmed slightly. Despite the laughter and creativity surrounding her, the reminder of her father's voice slipped through the cracks of her painted paradise. "Everything okay?" Joe asked, noticing the change in her demeanor. Claire hesitated. "It's just my dad. It's always complicated with family, isn't it?" he said softly, "but don't let his words steal this moment from you." Nodding, Claire faced the kids who were still giddy under the glowing mural. If only she could paint over her father's doubts and transform them into reassurance, to create a new narrative, one where she could still dream. As the stars began to flicker above, Claire gazed at her mural, and hope sparked anew. "One day, I'll make him see." But as she turned back to the children, another thought struck her: could she ever truly separate her art from her family's expectations? The path felt more tangled than ever, a winding road ahead, and deep down, Claire wondered, was there a way to blend both worlds into a masterpiece she could call her own? The answers felt like distant stars, beckoning her closer, each one a possibility. With the mural gleaming behind her, she took a breath. Tomorrow would be another brushstroke in her life's canvas. What lay ahead was a mystery, and the adventure to uncover it was only beginning. The next morning felt different. Claire woke up with the light gently streaming through her window, casting soft shadows in her room. The vibrant colors of the mural from the night before swirled in her mind, filling her with a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in ages. Perhaps today would be the day she would connect deeper with the kids and with herself. Arriving at the community center, Claire discovered a buzz of excitement around her. Children darted in every direction, their faces painted with bold designs, a delightful chaos of energy all around her. Mia spotted Claire first, racing over with her little feet pounding against the pavement. "Claire! Look at my face!" she squealed, her cheeks adorned with bright flowers and butterflies. Claire knelt to get eye level with Mia. "You look like a true artist, my little friend. I want to paint more. Can we do more sparkles?" Mia's eyes were wide with excitement. "Definitely," Claire laughed. As they walked towards the mural, she felt her heart lift. The kids were her family now, in ways she never thought possible. Amid the laughter, Joe approached, wiping sweat from his brow after a busy morning of setting up art supplies. "Have a lot of energy today?" he joked, chuckling as a group of kids raced past him. "Seems like they're ready to create art on every inch of this place," Claire replied, her enthusiasm bubbling. "Good for them," he said, glancing over at the painted mural now being touched by warm sunlight. "And good for you. You've brought joy, Claire. Just look around." She took a moment to breathe it all in. Yet as joyful as the scene was, the atmosphere still clung to fragments of her father's message. The heaviness returned briefly, but Claire quickly shook it off. "More sparkles!" A chorus of voices erupted as the kids gathered around buckets of glitter. Claire couldn't help but laugh. "All right, but we have to be careful," she called, grinning as small hands reached for the shimmering bits. She remembered Joe's words from yesterday about family being those who lift you up. There might be a way to break free from her father's expectations after all. As the day progressed, they worked on layering colors and textures. Each brushstroke felt like a revelation. Claire's spirit ignited, sparking creativity and laughter. Here, surrounded by her mini-artists, she felt brave. They were creating together, and it didn't matter what her father thought. But then, just as they were nearing completion, a new wave of uncertainty washed over her. Would she ever be at peace with her father's judgment? The weight of his expectations pressed on her heart. "Claire!" Mia pulled her back to the present. "Can we use the giant brushes now? Please?" "Absolutely, let us go big," Claire declared, her heart racing at the prospect of something bold. They ran to the corner of the mural, giant brushes poised, laughing as they created sweeping strokes that filled the sky with swirling clouds. In that moment, it didn't seem to matter how unsettled she felt about her family. What mattered was the joy and freedom pulsating from this canvas, a collective dream forged with their hands. See, Claire? Joe caught her eye as he handed out paint. This is your family now. You're making a mark that's true to you. And as she dipped her brush, she felt the spark of clarity. This mural, this moment, was hers. The spirit of her childhood dreams came rushing back, the endless possibilities she had once imagined. She felt an inner strength building, pushing her to shout a promise into the universe. I will find my own way. But deep inside, a question lingered: would that promise be enough to silence her father's doubt? Claire hesitated, brush hovering above the mural, uncertainty creeping back. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, she couldn't help but wonder how much longer she could dance between these two worlds. With a heart full of hope, she prepared for whatever revelation awaited her tomorrow. And so, Claire took a deep breath, ready to explore the twists and turns ahead. Would she learn to embrace her art without the shadows of expectation following her? Only time would tell. The morning was cool and quiet. Claire arrived at the community center, her heart still buzzing from the day before. She felt lighter today, as if a piece of her weight had been left behind on the mural. The laughter of the children echoed in her mind, refreshing like a cool breeze. Colorful artwork adorned the walls, evidence of a project that brought them all together. Mia waved at her from across the room. Claire! We're ready to paint more. Claire's heart swelled with warmth. She delighted in Mia's excitement, her spirit contagious. Let us get started then, Claire called, rushing over. As they gathered their supplies, Joe approached with a cup of coffee in hand. You seem to be in a great mood this morning, he remarked, a smile spreading across his face. I feel inspired, Claire replied. Yesterday was special. Seeing the kids create, everything just clicked. That's exactly what this place is about, Joe said thoughtfully. Sometimes art is the way to connect with ourselves. And in turn, it lets us share our truth with the world. Claire nodded. His words struck a chord deep inside her, setting off a ripple of hope. They set to work, each child eager to get their hands on paint and glitter. The laughter, the chaos, it was unmistakably vibrant. However, the moment of joy was occasionally pierced by that familiar reminder of her father's voice, a nagging whisper of doubt echoing within. She brushed it aside. Perhaps today she could focus on this new family, the kids who didn't care about her past or the expectations that loomed like shadows. They broke ground on a new mural, one that would symbolically represent the freedom they felt in this space. Claire set the example, filling the wall with bright colors. Let us paint what happiness looks like, she encouraged. Mia giggled, splattering blue paint wide. Like the sky. Yes. Exactly like the sky. Claire cheered, a wave of pride washing over her. This was meaningful work. Her heart raced with a mix of joy and purpose. As they painted, Claire noticed Joe by the side, watching with a knowing smile. Something in his gaze made her pause, and she found herself wandering over. What is it? She asked softly, sensing a deeper realization behind his watchful eyes. I see you coming alive, Joe replied, his voice steady. You're carving your own path, Claire. Don't let the past dictate how you paint your future. A lump formed in Claire's throat. It felt like a validation she'd longed for. Do you think I can really do it? She wondered aloud, a hint of vulnerability dripping into her voice. Absolutely. You already are, Joe assured her, warmth radiating in his expression. Claire beamed, emboldened. But soon the colors around her began to blur. As she looked at the kids, joy radiating from them, doubt nudged at her again. What if she faltered? What if her father's voice echoed stronger than her resolve? As the day closed, the mural began to take shape, a vibrant testament to collaboration and freedom. But Claire's heart still ached with questions. Each gleeful laugh from the children washed over her, but could it drown out her father's judgment? Claire! Look! Mia's voice broke through her thoughts again. We're making magic! The girl's innocence stirred something deep. Perhaps they were making magic. However, what if the real magic lay in Claire learning to embrace herself, despite the shadows? Claire hesitated, the brush in her hand trembling ever so slightly. Would she find the strength to balance her art and her identity? With the sun dipping low, she closed her eyes, feeling the weight lift momentarily as she let herself dream of a future filled with vibrant colors and unshackled creativity. But a shadow loomed. Could she let her past go for good? Would today be the day she finally stepped completely into her truth? The next chapter of her journey beckoned, each stroke on the mural serving as a brushstroke on the canvas of her life. What awaited her in that uncharted territory? Only tomorrow would reveal. The sunlight streamed into the community center, illuminating the colorful mural in the making. Claire stood frozen for a moment, the brush resting against her canvas, lost in thought. She could hear the laughter of the kids, the sweet sound of joy ringing in her ears, but it felt distant through the rumble of her own worries. "Hey, Claire!" Mia called out again, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Come see what I did." Claire snapped back to reality, smiling at the girl's enthusiasm. She walked over, shaking off her doubt like a stray piece of dust. The mural was evolving in front of her eyes, each child adding their own piece, their own stories splashed across the wall. Mia had painted a sun, bright yellow with swirling rays that extended towards the edges. "It's the happiest sun!" she declared, beaming. Claire crouched down to Mia's level, marveling at the creativity in such small hands. "It really shines. Just like you," she praised, the words escaping before she could hold them back. As Mia giggled, Claire felt a tighter bond forming, a connection that filled her heart with warmth. Each laugh and smile served as a reminder of what she desperately sought, acceptance and love. But in the back of her mind, the nagging voice of her father tried to creep back. And what would he think if he saw her now, painting with a heart full of joy instead of trepidation? "Hey, Claire?" Joe's calm voice floated over, pulling her from her swirling thoughts. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" Claire nodded, setting her brush down and following him to a quieter corner of the center. "What's up?" "I've been thinking today feels different. I can see it in you." She looked into his eyes, searching for what he truly meant. "Different how?" "More open, maybe. There's a light in you I haven't seen before." Claire felt her cheeks flush. "I'm just trying to go with the flow, I guess. The kids inspire me. It's like they have this magic. But I don't know if I can hold on to it." "You don't need to hold on to it, Claire." Joe leaned against the wall, crossing his arms, his gaze steady. "You just need to let it be a part of you. The past is always there, but it doesn't define you." She swallowed hard, trying to absorb his words. "It's hard to forget the judgments, especially from my father. Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning in expectations." Joe sighed, nodding as if he understood her struggle all too well. "Have you ever thought that maybe it's time to draw a line? To choose who gets to decide your worth?" Claire looked down, her heart racing. Could she take that step? Could she set those boundaries? She envisioned a life where she painted for herself, not for someone else. When she finally looked up, determination rang in her voice. "I want to try." "I don't want his voice to be the loudest anymore." "Then paint for yourself," Joe encouraged, a hint of pride in his smile. "Paint like you mean it. Let that freedom flow from your heart. Who knows what magic you might uncover." Returning to the mural, Claire felt lighter. She picked up her brush again, this time more confidently, and began to add swirls of colors around Mia's sun. It was freeing. The fears started to lift, like clouds parting to let the light in. "Can we add stars?" Another child chimed in, pointing to the corner of the mural. "Absolutely!" Claire exclaimed, feeling every brushstroke imbue her with more energy and purpose. They worked together, one vibrant stroke after another. Claire realized it might take time to fully silence the shadows of her past, but today was a new beginning. As the day wound down, Claire felt hopeful, but a sense of uncertainty lingered. What would tomorrow bring? Would she be able to keep this newfound resolve? Mia tugged at her sleeve, pulling Claire from her thoughts once more. "Tomorrow, can we make the mural even bigger?" "Of course!" Claire grinned back, excitement bubbling through her. But beneath that excitement, a question nagged at her. What if facing her fears brought more than just colorful murals? What if it uncovered something deep within her she couldn't yet see? Tomorrow's canvas awaited. Would she be ready to paint it? The days turned into weeks, and Claire sank deeper into her work at the community center. Each brushstroke felt like a thread weaving her into a vibrant tapestry of hope, joy, and connection. The mural grew, evolving into a masterpiece that reflected the love and laughter of countless children, each color representing a story, a dream, a possibility. Every inch of the wall pulsed with energy, a testament to what it meant to be truly alive. Mia, with her uncontainable enthusiasm, remained Claire's smallest yet fiercest cheerleader. "Look at what we can do, Claire! We're making magic!" she'd shout, her face smeared with paint, eyes sparkling like the stars they painted at night. With every laugh shared and every hue blended, Claire felt the walls of expectation begin to crumble. The voice of her father still echoed, sometimes sharp and defined, like the edge of a blade, but now, it felt like background noise, fading in the joyful hum of children's laughter. She learned to focus on what mattered, to be seen and to truly see others. One rainy afternoon, while preparing for yet another art project, Joe caught her attention. "You know, Claire," he began, his tone slightly serious, "I think you're ready to have a conversation with your father." Claire looked up, her heart racing. "You really think so?" "I do. You've found yourself here, and it's time to take that strength and show him who you've become. You need to paint those boundaries clearly." His words resonated, blooming like wildflowers in her chest. She realized she was tired of existing in shades of gray. With newfound determination, Claire knew it was time to step out from behind the swirling colors of the mural and face the daunting shadow her father cast. The following day, she stood in front of her bathroom mirror, breathing deeply. Today was the day. She donned a simple dress that felt more like a second skin than a mask of luxury. As she stared into her own eyes, she could feel an electric charge of self-belief coursing through her veins. Today, she wouldn't just speak, she would roar. Arriving at her father's office, she felt a familiar wave of anxiety wash over her, but she took a deep breath, twisting the door handle like she was twisting the very fabric of her decisions. Inside, her father was poring over papers, his concentration unwavering until he noticed her presence. "Claire," he said, eyebrows knitting together in surprise. "What brings you here? Are you lost?" "No, Dad," she replied firmly, her hands clenched at her side. "I'm exactly where I need to be." His expression shifted from surprise to annoyance. "What do you want?" "I don't have time for this. I want to talk," she said, voice steady. "About what you expect from me, and what I want for myself." He scoffed. "You really think you can just traipse in here and demand?" "I've spent too long trying to be the perfect daughter," Claire interrupted, her heart racing but her voice unwavering. "I've neglected who I really am, who I want to be. I'm not just a tool for your ambitions. I'm an artist, Dad." She could see the surprise flicker across his face. "Artist? You mean all that nonsense with paint?" "It isn't nonsense. You don't understand the joy I find in creating. It's not just fun, it's vital. The children at the community center, they need me, and that matters just as much as any family legacy you have planned." His frown deepened. "This doesn't make sense." "I'm sorry, but it does," she exclaimed. "I've spent so long trying to meet your expectations. But every time I succeed, I feel like I'm losing myself more. I can't continue to live like that. This is about my happiness, my future." The silence that lingered felt like a slow burn. Her father stared, his gaze piercing into her, but for the first time, she didn't shrink under it. She stood tall, a beacon of her own convictions. Finally, he spoke, voice low. "You're throwing away your opportunities." "No, Dad. I'm creating my own," she replied softly. "You may think that success looks a certain way, but I want to define mine. I want to find purpose in what I love." The tension coiled tighter, and Claire braced herself for his response. The confidence built up in her felt fragile. Would he see her? Would he hear her? But rather than another argument, she noticed a subtle shift. "I'm disappointed," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. I thought I was preparing you for greatness. Greatness isn't just climbing the ladder, Dad. It's healing and growing, finding joy and meaning. It's about being true to yourself. The silence stretched until he looked away, a shadow of doubt crossing his features. But what will people think? What if this isn't the right path for you? I won't let a fear of other people's opinions turn my life into their story, Claire asserted, feeling strength surge through her. I'm ready to create my own narrative, Dad. And I hope one day you can support that. With that, Claire took a step backward, leaving the uncertainty of his gaze behind. She could feel the weight lift off her shoulders, and the colors of her life began swirling brightly in her mind again. The next morning at the community center, Claire was met by a whirlwind of laughter and excited squeals as Mia bolted over, arms wide open for a hug, a vivid splash of paint on her cheek. Claire! We missed you! What awaited her was love, real love that brought light to the darkness she had battled for so long. As she looked at the children, joy radiating in their expectant smiles, she felt alive. An idea sparked, and she shared it with them. Let us paint a mural that tells the story of each of us. Our dreams, hopes, and colors. Their energy surged, and together, they gathered materials, excitedly brainstorming what they would create. As the laughter rang out and the paint flowed freely, Claire turned back to her own journey. She now stood firmly on her own canvas, ready to draw her life in bold, vibrant strokes wherever that might lead. And rather than worry that the shadows of her father's expectations would dim the light, she smiled, knowing she held the brush. This was her story, painted and crafted with love, freedom, and the extraordinary colors of her truth, and in that moment she decided, her father's legacy would no longer define her. And now, don't waste another second. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.